When the message matters, make it unforgettable with JournalBooks. Since 1971, JournalBooks has been helping brands tell their story through premium made-to-order customizable journals designed and produced in the U.S. at our Charlotte, North Carolina facility. From full-color printing and custom inserts to debossing, foil stamping, die cutting, and luxury packaging, every detail is thoughtfully designed to elevate your brand through an easy and quick process handled by JournalBooks' inside team of expert professionals. Need it fast? Most custom orders ship in just 5 to 7 days after proof approval, and JournalBooks offers over 80 items available for quick ship in as few as 3 days. Whether it's for a convention or conference giveaway, client gifting, employee training, a new launch, or an everyday brand touchpoint, JournalBooks turns custom notebooks into lasting impressions. JournalBooks, for when the message matters.
Hello and welcome to this week's episode of Promo Perspectives. Today we have a very fun topic to talk about, which is about promo and the World Cup, because obviously we all know the World Cup is coming up very, very soon. I am joined by soccer enthusiast Cody Smith, who is a member of our supplier sales team. Cody, why don't you introduce yourself?
Well, you already kind of nailed it. My name's Cody Smith. I'm part of the supplier sales team. I've been with Sage for 7 years now, and I'm a pretty big soccer fan. I've really kind of been a late adapter as an adult, a little unlike some of the other folks that have grown up with the sport. I kind of adopted it a little bit later on in life. And it was adopted specifically because of the World Cup. I picked it up, I guess, about 15, 16 years ago, whenever the United States was playing in the 2010 World Cup. And I pretty much have been a big fan ever since, and pretty excited about this one coming up.
Yeah. So for people who may not be as familiar with soccer, can you kind of explain what makes the World Cup such a big event?
Sure, yeah. I mean, in general, it's the largest sporting event in the world, and the one that's coming up here is technically going to be the biggest one ever. Based off of some of the statistics that are out there, there's projections for it to be up to 5 to 6 billion viewers.
Dang.
I mean, I don't know the overall global statistics of the world, but I think last time I checked, there's like 8.8 billion people in the world. So most of the world will be watching this thing while it's happening.
That's
and
crazy.
The fact that, North America, but specifically, a lot of the United States, since we are 11 of the 16 host cities, will be here stateside. The fact that we're going to be, front and center and hosting that, it's a crazy moment, and it should be really huge. Not only, huge in the moment of the world in general, but definitely huge as it relates specifically to the promotional products industry and branded merch.
Yeah. Let's talk about that a little bit more.
Sure.
From your perspective, how does an event like the World Cup really impact our industry? Especially, numbers alone, but yeah.
Right. I did a little research, and what I picked up, according to Forbes, the economic impact just in the United States alone is projected to have about a $30 billion increase.
Wow.
In overall revenue, or really across multiple different revenue streams across the board just here in the United States. I think I saw outside of that, it's over like 40.9 billion or something like that. So obviously I would imagine that includes Mexico and Canada as well, since they're also host cities. But, it's a huge influx of commerce that's being contributed just to being a host country, or in this case a host coalition for North America, just for this event. So it's a big deal, and like I said before, it's the biggest one that the World Cup has ever had as well, because they've expanded again to now hosting 48 countries, which is the biggest tournament that they've ever had. It's huge.
Yeah.
Big deal.
So what types of products or campaigns come to your mind when you think about our industry in the World Cup?
Well, advertising in general, I've always kind of been a big advertising freak. I've, ever since I was a little kid, I even have this conversation with, my supplier clients that I work with every day. What's the value of one of those, jingles, ba-da-ba-ba-ba, I'm loving it. How can you quantify the value of the fact that it lives in your brain forever? It's stuck there. So it's hard to quantify that, but obviously there's some level of value to that because we all know I'm talking about McDonald's whenever I do that.
Yep.
So, you know, the ones that really resonate with me as far as like World Cup is concerned, the players that are out there are a lot of the same usual suspect, McDonald's being one of them for sure. The one that sticks out to me specific to this World Cup is it's super long, and normally the long form commercials, obviously you got to spend a lot of money to do that. So you have to be a bigger player already as it is if you're going to do, say, like a commercial spot. But also we live in the digital world now. So in the world of, you know, YouTube that's out there, and if you're somebody that really loves advertising and kind of the psychology and the way that it works and the way that they partner with, you know, Nike partners with, you know, all of these great spokes athletes, and they have really, I guess, kind of since the Michael Jordan era back then. But, you know, the one that they're doing right now, which is pretty sick in my opinion, they have Timothy Chalamet as like the main guy, and he's kind of like this storyteller as he's driving this car, and he's going to this, it's like a street soccer tournament, and in the car he's got, if you're familiar, she's on the U.S. women's national team. It's Dennis Rodman's daughter, Trinity. She's like riding shotgun with him. And in the back, he's got a couple of pros that are, I think it's Jude Bellingham and Lamine Yamal, who's from Spain. Jude Bellingham is from England. And he's basically telling this story of these like street soccer kids that are out there playing on a rooftop. And they've been playing since they were kids, but now like they're the greatest, you know, 3-on-3 team that's ever been. And so he's compiled this team, and he's telling all this story from basically the history of them all the way up to now. And it's obviously promoting soccer in the World Cup, but it's all timed specifically for like these ads have just been released probably in the past, I don't know, month, 6 weeks. And so it's obviously timed specifically leading into the World Cup here. And as they like show up to play the game, I mean, he references David Beckham, and then you can see like they used like AI or CGI to kind of like pass datum, and it showed like the mullet David Beckham, and they're like, no, maybe it was the mohawk David Beckham. So then they changed him to having the mohawk. And then at the very end, he's going around the corner, and Chalamet's just going to go watch these guys play, and it gets kind of like a good little seat to watch them play. And as he does that, it shows that he's sitting next to Bad Bunny and Messi watching the game. So like that's kind of like the clincher. Like I said, it's such a long commercial because he's telling the story. So it's like a two-parter, but you can find it on YouTube. It was enough to, you know, I saw the first one, so it was enough to make me want to go and find the second one. But it was making its rounds on social media, which is why I ended up on, you know, ultimately YouTube. But I can only imagine. I'm sure it's, you know, if they're going to run that whole thing, I'm sure they probably will. During the World Cup, it's going to cost them a small fortune. But
I'm sure.
What's the point? People just like me are talking about it. And so that's to show how effective advertising truly works, right? And I mean, yes, we're part of the industry, but I mean, I'm really talking about it more as a soccer aficionado than what I am as an advertising aficionado at this point. So, I mean, that one sticks out the most as far as the one that's recent, but, you know, Coca-Cola has really been a big player for years and years. Gatorade and Powerade have done a lot of great ones. But also because the World Cup is such an international event and it promotes a lot of travel, you have your Delta, I mean, obviously stateside here, Delta and American Airlines, and those guys have done campaigns around it. But also, I'm sure probably British Airways. I mean, we don't see those ads as much, obviously, here. But, I would imagine that they would probably be doing campaigns specifically surrounding that as well.
Yeah, just it's just massive, to your point. Like, it really is. So how could a distributor tie into the World Cup in a creative way?
Well, obviously, there are a lot of like official licensing deals that are out there that, you know, are probably they probably are a pay to play, or they're part of, you know, these more higher end relationships, whether it's with ad agencies or something like that. But if it's more for something that's done at a more local area and not part of maybe those bigger campaigns or those bigger contracts, I definitely think that there's ways to go about still folding in the World Cup as a campaign, or putting projects that would feed into that. And I mean, I've already had some conversations with suppliers about that as it is, but I would say probably like the most important ones would be, you don't necessarily need that official IP for FIFA or World Cup that's associated with it. Because, like I said before, there are 48 countries that are going to be a part of that. That's a lot of national pride. And the United States is a melting pot of a lot of those nations already.
Yeah.
So not just the ones that are going to be incoming here, but I mean, definitely that plays a part into it. But the ones that are here, I mean, you can capture that culture of their national pride or their nation of origin by, promoting a lot of those things with, flags and signage and, other merch that goes along with that to kind of capture that national pride. I would say that that's probably a big one. Another aspect of it would probably be the fan journey. And by that, I mean, if they're going to be attending these events live and in person, there's some level of, I would imagine, if you're part of those 11 host cities in the United States or 2 in Mexico or 3 in Mexico, 2 in Canada, I think. If you're going to be a part of those host cities that are putting that on, then there's probably some sort of recommended or maybe even required method of transit in order to arrive at those sports. Especially considering the rabid nature of some of the fandom that's there. They want different countries are going to take different routes in order to get there, so they don't even have to travel. They don't have to take the same means to travel there. And so as a result of that, all of those methods of travel, but also along the way, the corridors that kind of make up that travel. There's tons of ways, whether it's on the methods of travel themselves, like trains or buses or planes, the signage that kind of goes along with that, and any other kind of merch that would maybe be a part of that, whether it's stickers or decals or anything that would be a part of that fan journey, like I'm mentioning. I think that would probably be really big. And then ultimately, I think it's more of I don't know, maybe I'm being a little, specific to our country here because that's where we have the most exposure. But, watch parties are a big deal here in the States, and I think that, everybody's going to capture that already as it is in the, restaurant and bar and grill, the pub scene, so to speak. And so I think, if there are distributors that are out there that have that level of clientele that they're working with, really even at the corporate level, but specific to, chain restaurants, things like that are going to capture this event. I think it can be really huge if they are using those types of products that they already work with to kind of fold that into what their offering is for projects for those clients that are out there. Yeah,
I think that makes total sense. And kind of jumping ahead for us a little bit, but when are suppliers planning for things like this?
I had this conversation with suppliers probably almost a year ago when they were asking questions because they want to work with, depending on what level of supplier they are, if they're a manufacturer, if they work with maybe a team of other manufacturers overseas and what they should be offering their clients from a wholesale basis at the distributor level. I mean, it's been a conversation that I've been having at least probably since last summer or last fall. And so not to say that, you guys have missed the bus. I mean, it's very possible. I think there are a lot of products that already are out there in the market that it's not going to take a whole heck of a lot to just fold those into projects that already make sense for distributors and their clients out there already as it is. It's probably just really a means of collaborating with guys on, my team here at Sage and other advertisers that are out there that give you guys vehicles the best ways possible to really deploy that great messaging and get that in front of distributors out there in the best ways possible.
All right, I'm going to end on a fun one, which is going to be pretty obvious, but who are you rooting for in this World Cup?
USA, baby, all the way. Let's go. We've only won one game in the knockout stages ever, but, this could be our year. They're calling this group that's out this year. We do have more players playing in Europe now, the United States, than what we've ever had before. And so they're calling these kids that are playing now the golden generation. We'll see. We'll see how they do. You know, I got my fingers crossed for them either way.
Go USA.
That's right. Let's go.
Well, thank you so much for joining me today. I feel like this was a very fun topic. I know a lot of people are going to be very interested in this. And thank you to everybody who's tuned in. We will see you on our next episode of Promo Perspectives.